Hello and welcome back to PlumeriaPlay. Today in The Sims 4 we are building a pool with the new Riviera retreat kit, and we are going to be only using that new kit and base game. Hopping right into it, I decided to build this lot in the Oasis Springs world where the museum usually is, because I don't find I get very much use out of the museums anyways. It's obviously going to be categorized as a pool, and we do manage to use all the items from the new kit in this pack, I think. I had originally said in my reviews of the kits, which I'll link at the top right now, that I didn't feel like this pack fit very well into the base game worlds, and I think I might take that back a little bit. I think it fits into the Oasis Springs world quite well. My initial review of the pack was quite negative, but honestly after using the items I feel like I like this one better than I originally thought I did, so that is nice to know. And while I don't think any kit is necessary to have, I do think it makes a really beautiful pool lot in the game. I was actually very inspired by one of the promo pictures from this pack that kind of had like an indoor shot looking outdoors. So I decided I also wanted to have like kind of an indoor outdoor feel pool, and I think it ends up coming together so good. But you'll watch me go through this several times. Like, I had a really hard time figuring out exactly what I wanted this to look like. I couldn't quite figure out color scheme. I wanted to use like orangey tones, but then being in Oasis Springs, it started to feel too orange. So it was a bit of a challenge, honestly, but I really enjoyed building this lot. I will say one very positive thing about these new kits is it's pushed me out of my comfort zone a little and kind of forced me to build things that I might not normally build in The Sims, but it's honestly been such a fun challenge to build something other than houses. And I kind of thought I was bad at community lots, and maybe you'll still think so after this, but I think the two community lots I did with the new kits actually ended up coming out really good. Like, not to try to toot my own horn or anything, I'm sure there's plenty of better builds out there, but for me, I was proud of myself. So now I'm starting to figure out the color scheme a little bit. Once I added in this kind of green and orange tone tile, it really kind of solidified what I wanted it to look like. And I love green. I feel like I end up working green into all of my builds, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I think this sage green and this kind of like desert-y orange tone pair so well together. And maybe I'm just partial because I like both of those colors a lot, but now we are getting those archways added in all around, and I decided I wanted to have a front and a back entrance into this pool. I just thought it made sense, especially with how the lot's set up where it kind of has like a parking lot look around it. I will say one of my biggest troubles was landscaping. I am not good at desert landscaping at all, as it turns out. I think it comes together good in the end, but it was so much back and forth. And I think the kind of structured hedge bushes work really well for this lot, but I wanted to mix in some more like cacti and palm trees and things like that around the lot. But I didn't leave myself a whole lot of extra space to landscape, but I felt like without the greenery, it just looked a little blah. But that being said, if you have any tips for landscaping desert terrain, let me know in the comments, because I could use some help probably still. I do think it looks nice, and I wanted it to look a little more lush than just plain desert because it is a pool. So I wanted it to look like a little oasis in the desert, you know? So at this point, I feel like the general layout of the build is starting to come together. I do end up changing several more things though, because right about now, I have realized I do not have any bathrooms in this build. So this is me searching all over for any space at all I can put bathrooms. And I settle on the kind of in the middle on each side and then put a small window, which I think turns out really good. I just can't believe I was like not even thinking about it. I didn't even consider bathrooms when I started building the general shell of this building. And then I played with the idea of fairy lights on that back wall, but I decided against it in the end. I just feel like we're going for much more of a luxury pool vibe, and the particular lights that I had available, being as how we're just doing base game in the kit, just didn't feel very luxe to me. I think if we would have had the ones from like the toddler pack, those would have been perfect. And then I am coloring our pool tile now. I decided to go with more of an orange. I wanted to keep the kind of bluey green and orange contrast up throughout the entire build. I feel like currently there's still a bit of a power struggle happening between the two colors now, so we do end up changing a few more swatches before it's all over with, but this is what we're working with right now. But heading outside, I'm making sure I like the way everything looks at nighttime, placing a couple couple extra lights just because it was not quite how I wanted it to be. So now that we've got our main shape and kind of our general aesthetic down, I'm filtering by the new kit so I can find all the items and get those placed down. And I really wanted to try to use every single item in the pack. I really like, especially with kits, to use everything that they have to show what a full cohesive build looks like together. So at this point with filtering by the pack, I realized I have not used close to anything from the new kit, and I really wanted to get the pergolas in. But this build is very symmetrical, and I think that kind of adds to the luxurious feel of it. So I needed to get 2 pergolas. So we did have to make a pool a little bit smaller, but it's still quite a large pool, so I don't think that that was an issue at all. And then I want to get these rock fountains, and I don't know where they are in build mode, so I have to search all over to find those. It really took me an embarrassing amount of time to find them. Like, I was looking for them and then stopped completely and started doing something else in hopes that I would have an epiphany or something on their location. And then I decided to do the fire pits under the pergolas, which I don't know if that like is really functional in real life or not, but it's functional in The Sims, so it's okay. And then I wanted to use the rock rug, so I used that for our back entrance. And then now we are back looking for the rock fountain, and it still once again takes forever, but I finally find them by filtering by water features. So if you have the same struggle, that's where they're at. But I couldn't decide where to put these. I felt like where I have them now that I'm placing them is just too much. But I really wanted to stick with like a symmetrical look. So they stay there for a little bit, and then we are getting some more stuff inside. I start to put the tables with the umbrellas inside, and I was like, that's silly. Those have umbrellas. They need to be outside. So we did a bit of a switcheroo there. So heading back inside now, we are moving some tables and chairs around, and then I decided I'd like to get a bar inside. So we do end up placing that over here in this corner, and I think that's a good add-on. I don't believe with it being a pool lot that it'll just be functional, but you can hire a vendor to go work there, or if you have mods, you can use LittleMsSam's auto employee mod. I can link that in the description for you. I have that, and I use that on a lot of my lots, and it's very helpful if you like to have multifunctional lots. But we are moving on to our bathroom spaces now. They are both decorated the exact same way, and they're both very simply decorated. I wanted to have a really big mirror space just so you could check your swimsuit or whatever before you went out to the pool, but then I realized I put the mirrors covering the little window, so I needed to reverse the way the bathroom was set up. And then we end up just copying that same setup over onto the other side. I will say I did not realize how much clutter the base game lacked as far as the bathrooms and things were concerned. I think I used the bathroom clutter kit all the time because I was like, where are the good towels? And I couldn't find them anywhere, but that's because they're not in base game. So here we are moving those tables and chairs outside, and I'm getting all that set up at this point. And then I think right about now my husband comes into the office. So I'm showing him the build, and I'm like, I'm liking how it's coming together, right? But something is just not quite right. But look at how cool this view is from the inside. And then I realized I didn't paint the roof, even though I thought I painted the roof. So anyways, we're discussing what we could change, how to make it better. And the roof color change, I think, helps tremendously. It really starts to even the colors and things out a lot better. And then with his help, I also decided to change the pool trim to more of the sagey green color we've been having throughout. And we also decided to move the rock fountains because I just knew I didn't like them there, and they make so much more sense where they end up kind of as a feature when you walk in, and is like a feature when you swim through from the indoor to the outdoor area or vice versa. For me, being able to just talk my thoughts out with a real person is so helpful in helping me figure out what it is that I'm liking or not liking about a build. So it was very nice that he happened to walk in right at that time. But now we are kind of getting our final little details down. We are copying everything over to the other side. Everything is very symmetrical in this build. And then I needed to add some towels and some clutter onto these little racks that we have. And it took me far too long to alt place this little basket of toiletries. I left it in because it was honestly just kind of comical how many times I had to move it. But the other side, perfect immediately. But now we are going back and painting that ceiling texture. I realized I had accidentally painted the foundation I put down in order to get a trim instead of actually painting the ceiling. So I'm glad I went into tab mode because I would have been heartbroken when I went into the tour and it wasn't there. So we had to do a little maneuvering because for whatever reason, this one patch didn't want to paint. But we are wrapping up this build now. We are getting some final details, some little extra clutter and storage. And then I also needed to get some pool floaties. Of course, I actually really love the new pool floats that come with this Riviera retreat kit. I think they're gorgeous. But that is the build pretty much done. So I'm going to hop in really quickly and give you a tour. So here we are now in the world of Oasis Springs, and my pool is built right over here where the museum used to be. So let's go ahead and head over there. So this is what the lot is looking like right when you load in. We have our little sign up front just indicating our community pool space. And then you are met with the 2 pergolas. I have little fire pits underneath both of those, which I feel like is very cute and fitting. I don't know, like I said, functionality wise, if that's practical, but in The Sims it works, and the smoke can get through all those little holes in the pergola. And then we've just got a couple pool floaties, our little rock fountains, a lot of seating and lounging areas out here. And then heading inside, we've got some more pool floats and a few little seating areas off to each side. And then over here, we've got an extra seating area. And on the other side, we've got a cute little bar. I imagine this to be more of like a little pool eatery. So I did put this menu back here just to indicate that you can order food from this bar as well. And then this is the back of our lot, which also has a nice little entryway to it. But yeah, that is our full build complete. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the gallery for you guys if you're interested in downloading it. But let me know what you think of this build and what you think of the new Riviera retreat kit. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.